Thank you, Sahani sir. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. This is the 1702nd day of continuous webinar conducted by International Forum for Promoting Homeopathy. Today, our guest is Dr. Vasundhara Mehrotra. Let us begin the session with 1 minute silent prayer. Thank you all. The International Forum for Promoting Homeopathy comprises of homeopathic lovers, students, and doctors. We have 3 sessions every day. The first session of the day is already over in Hindi from 7:30 to 8:30, and from 8:30 to 9:30, the international session in English, and from 9:30 to 10:30, a local language session in Malayalam. We are very happy to say that we are uploading the videos of the same on the very next day itself so that those who missed the session can watch it again. You can subscribe the same even without paying any money. You can share this with all these people, whether he's a homeopathic lover or student or not, or whatever may be. The purpose of the forum is to take homeopathy to every house around the world. And we very recently have a wonderful session in celebrating 1,700 day with the doctors, eminent doctors from more than 10 countries participated, and all those presentations were there in the YouTube. So those who want to watch it, you can just search IFPH Homeopathy at YouTube so that you can watch all our some of our previous presentations also. Anyway, let me come to today's guest. As you all know, today our guest is Dr. VASUNDHARA MEHROTRA, and she has completed MD in homeopathy and is a PhD scholar. She is working as an assistant professor, Department of Repertory, Solan Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Kumarati, Himachal Pradesh. She is the founder of Dr. Vasundhara's Homeopathy Panjikara, and is the president, Chandigarh Tricity, the homeopathy healers, homeopathy worldwide, and is the president of Dr. Cell Global Event Organization Trust, Haryana. He has a working experience of 17 years in the clinical side and has an experience of more than 4 years in as teaching field, in the teaching field. She has given many presentations on homeopathic mathematica as a part of UG teaching during the ongoing PG courses, worked as a part of assistant professor, Department of FMT at Homeopathic Medical College Hospital, Chandigarh, currently working as assistant professor, and she is a person who has worked as an ex-editor, Homeobus, a monthly homeopathy pharma journal, and she has published 10 articles in reputed homeopathic journals, a regular contributor to popular writing on newspapers and magazine, and recently appointed as the nodal officer from Solan Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, contributing publications on behalf of the college. Ayurveda newspaper published in the Atal Medical and Research University, Mandi, that is from Himachal Pradesh, and wrote a foreword for a book and mind technique in homeopathy, which is under publication. And she has worked in pharmaceutical for 2 years under for the development of the section in B. Jain Pharmaceutical Private Limited, and research as a research officer. Has presented a research paper at National Homeopathy also. And today, Doctor will be talking about the scope of homeopathy in treating deficiency disorders. So it will be a wonderful session, and we hope Dr. Vasundhara Mehrotra is already here. Please open your video, madam. You are welcome to the session. You are a co-host. You can directly unmute and speak.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Dhanesh, for such an elaborate and wonderful introduction. I'm really like obliged for that. So my professional experience, yes, it's a long one and it's a kind of a hybrid professional experience. I have gained experience both like in a variety of homeopathic professional fields like pharmaceutical, like academics, and also in clinical and in the research work also. So currently I am pursuing my PhD from Homeopathy University, Jaipur, and I'm also, conducting a research work on deficiency disorders with respect to vitamin D deficiency. And I'm just working out how, with homeopathy, we can help and relieve the patients, the persons who develop vitamin D deficiency in them. So this presentation is like a kind of extension of that work itself. So I would like to share my screen.
Yes, you can share it. Presentation.
Okay, thank you. So this is what I'm presenting here is biochemistry of nutrition. We all know that body absorbs nourishment from food in the form of macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients, we all know the protein, the carbohydrates, the fats. These are the macronutrients which provide us energy to carry out our daily routine functions. Then there are micronutrients which though are required in very very small amounts are indispensable for health. We all know that the slightest of errors in diet, when it comes at the level of vitamins and minerals, it causes a lot of havoc in our basic functions, daily functions, be it as simple as respiration, be it as simple as the contraction of muscles, be it as simple as conduction of sensory messages through the nerves or the nervous system. So the slightest of error, the slightest of imbalance in the levels of micronutrients leads to all these errors at the level of physiological functions. Then this is something which I am sharing here is a list of all the vitamins and their chemical names, their formulas, their main elements, the main constructive elements that go into this formulation. Say in vitamin A, that is retinol, the formula goes as C20H 30O, and the main elements are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The key functions of vitamin A, we all know, is in the maintaining and the proper functioning of vision as a physiological function, the immune functions, the skin, the health, these all parts of the body, they all need vitamin A. And in the absence of vitamin A, we develop night blindness, xerophthalmia, etc. Xerophthalmia, we all know, is dryness of the basically eyes. Then this is vitamin B1, that is thiamine. And again, the main elements that go into its formulation are carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and sulfur. So what does this thiamine do? It helps in energy metabolism, nerve conduction, the nerve functions. And in the absence of thiamine, the deficiency disease that develops is beriberi. Then vitamin B2, that is riboflavin, that is carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen that go into the construction or go into the formulation of riboflavin. And what does riboflavin do? It helps in energy production. It helps in skin and eye health. So in the absence of vitamin B2, what develops is ariboflavinosis. Same way, I have just listed out all the basic vitamin B complex from B1, B2, B5, B6, B7, B9, and B12. These are all the basic vitamins that go into the formulation of vitamin B complex that we commonly use the term as. Pantothenic acid is vitamin B5, B6 is pyridoxine, B7 is biotin, B9 is folic acid, B12 is cyanocobalamin. Folic acid, the basic vitamin needed during pregnancy, in the deficiency of which so many congenital conditions develop into the developing embryo. So the slightest of these are not required. These are all the micronutrients. As the word goes, the micronutrients, very, very minute quantities of these minerals and elements, they are required. Why micro quantities? Because they are not the constructive elements, rather they manage the entire show. What entire show? Like the formulation of proteins, the formulation of the building blocks of the body. Then what else do? They help in carrying out the metabolic activities. They help in carrying out the excretion of toxins from the body as well. They help as catalysts in the basic functioning of the body. I think I should move on to the next slide. The slide is not changing. Yes. So the next slide here, the previous slide was about all the vitamins. Now this slide deals with the essential minerals. The minerals which are listed in the periodic table, the essential 118 elements that are there in the periodic table. Out of those 118 elements, basically around 33 or so are required by the body for daily functioning and daily construction processes. So there goes in the first mineral, calcium, then comes iron, iodine, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, zinc, copper, selenium, chromium, manganese, fluoride, etc. So if we see what does these basic minerals do, calcium goes in the bone and teeth formation, muscle function, nerve signaling, etc. In the absence of calcium, what happens? The chronic disease that takes shape in the form of rickets and osteoporosis. Rickets in children, osteoporosis in adults. Iron, in the deficiency of iron, we develop iron deficiency anemia. Iron is a basic component that goes into the formulation of hemoglobin. Iodine, that goes for thyroid hormone production. It helps in regulation of metabolism. In the absence of iodine, goiter results. Then comes phosphorus. When phosphorus is lacking, weak bones result. Then there is also, there is also a lack in nerve conduction, and hence fatigue also sets in. Then potassium. In the absence of potassium, hypokalemia develops, and potassium is needed for fluid balance, nerve and muscle function, and heart regulation. Same way, sodium. So sodium, potassium, these are the basic ions which go into the conduction of messages from one end of the nerve to another nerve, or from one end of the nerve to the muscles, or also in the junctions of the two muscles, or like that. So in the absence, or in any sort of deficiencies that develop from the errors in sodium and potassium, lots and lots of weakness, cramps, exhaustion, nausea, confusion, these kind of things, they develop. In the absence of zinc, there is growth retardation, there are skin lesions, there is immune hypofunction, because of which we have also seen the role of zinc during COVID outbreak, wherein zinc was the basic requirement. It was actually advised for people to take zinc combinations and zinc salts to maintain their immunity as well. Then copper. Copper, if it is not present in the body in the required amount, it can lead to anemia and bone issues. Then selenium. Selenium, we also have we, like most of these things, we have in some or the other form in our materia medica, documented as proper medicines. So selenium, we all remember in sexual neurasthenias and infertility and weaknesses. So selenium, again, it's an antioxidant defense salt which helps in thyroid function. Thyroid helps in metabolism, and further the fertility is regulated. Same way goes for chromium and Manganese. Manganese is for bone deformities, skin rashes, manganum aceticum. This is a remedy recorded in homeopathic materia medica for basically it works at the bone marrow level and helps in avoiding or in the formulation of red blood cells. So in the absence of manganese, even the anemic conditions set in. Besides all these bone deformities and skin rashes that occur. Same way, fluoride. Fluorides are present in, they are required, the key functions are in bone and tooth health, prevention of dental caries. So the previous slides, I just gave a basic biochemical significance of the basic vitamins and the minerals. Now we will like discuss on this on our, since the topic is scope of homeopathy in deficiency disorders, we'll try to figure out what homeopathy and what is the perspective of from the perspective of homeopathy, how we look at deficiency rather to go like that. How with the from the perspective of homeopathy we can deal with deficiency disorders which are so very common nowadays. So, what is deficiency? It is essentially the failure of nutrition to nourish the body for a healthy living. So, the basic question is that why the nutrition fails to nourish? There can be like situations where in there is scarcity of nutrition available in the food that is being taken because maybe because of a number of reasons, maybe because of paucity of resources due to poverty or due to ignorance. Ignorance is a big, ignorance. People are not educated at the level of nutrition. They are not nutrition educated nowadays, and even if they belong to well like like a very financially rich people, even they fail to manage their diet in a nourishing way, in a way that it nourishes their body. So hence obesity is so very common. It's almost an epidemic nowadays. So even if there is the resources are available, you develop deficiency, and when the resources are not there, definitely the deficiency sets in. Now, the topic here where what I am discussing it is that even when you are taking the nutrition in the amount that it is required, why do we still develop deficiency? You drink milk, but your bones lack strength. You eat greens, but the blood lacks essential vitamins. You love to eat chicken, but your muscles lack fiber, and so on and so forth. So the topic here I am presenting is in this regard that when the nourishment that you need, it is on your plate and you are taking it in the required amount, but still then you fail to absorb it from your plate, from your diet. So why does it happen? Again, back to some theories. This is Virchow's cell theory. Rudolf Virchow, he was a German scientist. So he gave up a cell theory. What he said, all cells arise from pre-existing cells. So when a cell arises from pre-existing cells, so the kind of cells that will, get generated or get produced depends upon the kind of pre-existing cells. So disease arises from cellular changes. As cells divide, disease propagates. Agar, like if the pre-existing cell has faced some sort of a stressful situation, and under that stress the pre-existing cell from which is going to multiply. Okay, so a cell is going to multiply, but before multiplication, the kind of stressful situation the cell has to face to for its survival, it undergoes certain changes within its own system. Those changes are adaptation, and that adaptation gets coded in its genetic material. And when this diseased cell, you can say diseased or you can say a cell that has adapted to a phase of stress. When this cell divides, this adaptation as a genetic code gets transferred to the daughter cells, the cells which result from the division, from the multiplication. So the disease here is failure to assimilate what is needed by the system for healthy function. As I said, there can be two conditions wherein the diet is lacking in nutrition. The another condition is the diet is not lacking in condition. Still, the person develops all sorts of deficiency. We all know, whosoever is practicing physician, everyone knows that when you deal with the patients nowadays, like vitamin D deficiency, vitamin B12 deficiency, iron deficiency, folic acid deficiencies, these are present like in every other blood work reports that we receive from patients. Patients either carry these reports on their own selves, or even if we order them, we ask them to uh, like get these reports done. These things are such a common finding nowadays, and these things are happening. There are so many patients I am dealing with, like who are actually taking supplements also. Okay, so the supplements are also being taken besides the healthy diet, and still their levels are just like touching the bar. Just touching the bar mean to say they are still not that showing that much prominence in their blood work that should be present, in which it should be present at that level with all these efforts. So why this is happening? Because whatever is being given into the system is not actually settling down into the system. There is a level of resistance, and this resistance is basically the adaptation of the cell that has undergone a state of stress. This is what I want to I want to actually share through this Virchow cell theory, that when a cell divides, whatever genetic information it has, it also gets carried down the line. So the system also fails to get rid of unwanted results of stress. So if there is something which has been accumulated, which was not, excreted out in the in the process, that also gets transferred as such during the production of further cells. Now, what happens? The cell adapts to these failures, which gets coded into its genes and transfers to progeny, as I said. So now this thing is transferring. Now, what has been transferred to us is what we receive from our parents as a genetic code, and this is how we like get the stigma. Now, evolution of diseases into deficiencies into chronic diseases. The next slide is evolution of deficiencies into chronic diseases. So deficiency is now into the system, and it has traveled down the line. I have received it to certain extent. Now it depends if this resistance will be broken ahead or not, that I will develop further it further that I will further develop this thing, this state, into a proper deficiency or not. So lack of essential substances, if there is, say, iron is lacking into the system. Now I'm not saying that it is lacking into the plate. I'm talking about if it is lacking into my physiological system. If iron is deficient, I will develop lack of production of, I'll develop a floppy production of hemoglobin. And in that condition, obviously I will have all sorts of functional errors, which, like, obviously, because of the lack of hemoglobin, there won't be proper oxygenation of the tissues. I'll be easily fatigued. I'll be easily, worn out after the least of exertion. My extremities, my hands, my feet won't be warm enough. They will be like almost cold and clammy. There'll be easy sweating, like there will be constipation. The system will go into sluggishness. And if this thing is not broken, this chain is not broken here, right? So this functional error will lead into a proper chronic disease. Now the thing is, this is about deficiency, how deficiency evolves into a chronic disease. Now there's one we all know, Dr. Herbert Roberts. Whoever has gone through his philosophy must be knowing that Dr. Herbert Roberts calls SORA as another form of deficiency itself. We all know, Dr. Hahnemann said, mother of all chronic diseases is SORA. SORA is the, now what I said in the Virchow's theory, whatever genetic information has been taken upon in a situation of stress will transfer as a genetic code down the line. So this genetic code is actually the adaptive memory of the cell. The SORA is the adaptive memory of the impact of deficiency on the tissues of body. So in now the deficiency, when it happens, when it is there, that it impacts the tissues of the body, and under that impact, the cells adapt, and this adaptation gets transferred as SORA. The cells adapt under stress, and the genetic memory stores this adaptation. I hope this thought process is clear to everyone. If anyone has any doubt, please let me know. Yes, am I clear on this?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay. So now let's see what the stalwarts have to say. So there is some essential failure of the system to, as this is Dr. Herbert Roberts saying, there is some essential failure of the system to assimilate the necessary constructive materials that provides the background of the so-called soric taint. So he says what the soric stigma is. Underneath this soric stigma, what lies is the failure of the system to assimilate. Now, where from this failure comes into the system is the Virchow's cell theory, that it comes from the adaptation of the cell under the stress. So many of these constructive materials resonate with the antisoric remedies of Dr. Bonninghausen. Now, what I am moving ahead is, okay, SORA, we understand it's kind of an adaptive memory, and that adaptive memory is itself creates a resistance wherein the system is not ready to take up what it needs the most to carry out its basic functions, right? Now, what it needs, the point is, what does it need? It needs the constructive materials, obviously, that we have already seen, the vitamins, the essential minerals. It needs all of these. Okay, so now, since this is a homeopathic perspective, now I will talk about, since we have talked about SORA as deficiency, we will also talk about what we have in homeopathy for this kind of a situation. So in homeopathy, Dr. Hahnemann has worked in theory of chronic diseases, and he has written a lot about how chronic diseases have developed. He said, if you just segregate the conditions which are recurring again and again, you can divide these conditions into venereal and non-venereal chronic diseases. The venereal, he has given the root cause as syphilis and psychosis. And when we talk about a rest of everything comes under the domain of SORA. So he gave a list, he actually proved some of the medicines and gave a record of some of the greatest antisoric drugs in his chronic diseases. Now, this person, Dr. Bonninghausen, he developed the first systematic repertory which was based on this theory of chronic diseases itself. This repertory was the repertory of antisoric medicines. Now, what next slide comes up with is deficiency disorders from the perspective of Dr. Hahnemann. Hahnemann's chronic disease, this is what I already told you about, that his chronic disease opened the debate on miasm. And he told us about that there is a stigma that gets carried again and again, that gets transferred down the genetic hierarchy, and we receive it from our ancestors. And this is the SORA, the mother of all chronic diseases. So he listed, now Bonninghausen, when he indexed the work chronic diseases in his repertory, he listed out 50 antisoric remedies. Now, those 50 antisoric remedies, when we have a look on those 50 antisoric remedies, 33 of those 50 antisoric remedies were the elements or inorganic substances, basic mineral kingdom that we are talking about. So the elements and the inorganic substances constituted 33 out of the 50 antisoric remedies that went into Bonninghausen's work of repertory of antisoric drugs. The elements in the salts correspond to the micronutrients, as I have already listed in the previous slide. The micronutrients whose deficiency produces chronic diseases that I have also listed. So this is the list of 50 antisoric drugs that Bonninghausen had worked upon. The ones in the green are all belong to the plant kingdom. Sepia alone is there in the animal kingdom. The blue ones, all of these, alumina, ammonium carb, ammonium mure, arsenicum album or metallicum, baryta carb, acid boricum. Then calcarea carb, carboanimalus, carbovegetabilis, causticum, graphitis, hypersulf, iodine, calicarb, magnesium mure, manganum, muriaticum, acidum, natrum carb, natrum mure, calinitricum, nitric acid, petroleum, phosphorus, phosphoric acid, platinum, silica, then stannum, strontium carb, then sulfur, sulfuricum acidum, and zinc metallicum. So these are the 33 of the elements and inorganic substances as well as the organic elements that go into the formulation of antisoric drugs that Boninghausen has listed. So why I'm telling this, there is also a key to this thing, why this slide is presented. There's another thing which I have not mentioned here that Roberts has talked about. Simply just to make it keep it simple, I have not mentioned that in any slide, but I would like to talk about it because it's a nice concept. Maybe you get it like that the way I have understood it. I'll try to explain it. So he says he gives example of these things. Okay, these are the elements that. So he says why our 33 out of the 50 antisoric drugs belong to the mineral kingdom. So he says that we all have evolved from the Earth's crust, and the Earth's crust has like a plenty, has a bounty of these elements in it. So we all know ultimately all the living creatures, be it plant, be it animals, be it human beings, we basically are a combination of organic chemistry. If everyone knows about the or remembers rather, I know everyone knows, but we remember, we go back to our the chemistry that we learned in our school days. So we all know that organic chemistry, why it is given separate, because it is the baseline of life that is there on this planet. So basic carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, these things are these basic elements will be there, but besides other micro nutrients, they are a combination, essential micro nutrients, they are a combination of these elements itself. And the way we have evolved from the Earth's crust, these all elements go into our construction, the way anything and everything that lives on this planet is constructed. So if there is any sort of disproportion into that construction, disproportion at the level of the beginning of life, into the that goes into the construction of life into every individual. So that leads to kind of deficiencies which further go down the lane, as I've already discussed about. So since we have evolved from this is another theory that is given by Herbert Roberts. He says that we have evolved from earth crust, and the elements that are present in earth crust, they formulate, they are almost these 33, they cover up most of those elements that go into our formulation. Again, he says that there are certain heavy metals also, like baryta, carb baryta, barium is a heavy metal. Aurum metallicum, again it's a heavy metal. So all the heavy metals, they are basically destructive in nature, but since barium is in combination with carbon, here it goes into the antisoric drugs. It goes into the constructive materials. It doesn't go into the antisyphilitic variety. So he gives an exception. Yes, there are certain things like the aurum, the gold, the baryta, the barium, and also the platinum. He gives us that, yes, these are heavy metals, because why heavy metals are, the heavy metals are into the core of the earth. They are basically not present in the earth's crust. So how do they get into our system? He has not given any particular explanation. They are basically exceptions, but rest of the 33 elements, they are constructive in nature. They are soric. They formulate the antisoric drugs. Now let's see what is indexed in repertory under soric. Since I am dealing with repertory as a subject in my college, so I thought of inculcating certain things from repertory also. Sora, basically, what we know, obviously now we know that it is the mother of all chronic, that's the functional disorders that go into the baseline of Sora. Now, where from these functional disorders come in? From emotional triggers. This is another thing, that oversensitivity is SORA. Oversensitivity leading to functional disorders. This is a table, this is a repertorial chart wherein I have taken mind ailments from emotional causes, like all the emotional causes I have taken, like mind fear, mind anger, mind anxiety. And then I have taken from the generalities chapter hypothyroidism, hypogamma globulinemia, generalities may anemia, then osteomalacia, osteoporosis, brittle bones, then heat, lack of vital. See, SORA is so very in need of, warmth. Every complaint is relieved by warmth. Why? The basic functioning of the system is hampered. So metabolism is hampered. When the metabolism is hampered, obviously there is less energy produced, there is easy exhaustion, there is desire to lie down every time, despite being restlessness inside. Why restlessness? Because restlessness is to produce heat by motion, but on the contrary there is a strong desire to rest. So heat, lack of generals, reaction, lack of vital. So when I just jotted down all these things into my repertorial chart, the kind of repertorial analysis I get, the first few messages, the first few medicines are belong to the mineral kingdom itself. We see calcarea carb on the top, sulfur, then lycopodium is again great antisoric drug, but it is not of mineral kingdom. Then we have merxol, acid phos, arsenicum, phosphorus. You can see. Then one thing comes in there, nosode comes in soranum, then kali carb, then there's graphitis, natramure, then again conium plant comes in, pulsatilla comes in, sepia, again it's an antisoric drug. This is an animal kingdom. Then again mineral kingdom, silicia, aluminum, cuprum. You see, the chart is dominated by the mineral kingdom. This is what I want to say, why the minerals stand at the baseline of antisoric drugs. They dominate this thing, this whole miasmatic condition of deficiencies. Again, I have taken some rubrics: respiration, asthmatic, nervous. Okay, so we see plenty of remedies here. I'm not going to mention each and every remedy, only the medicines that belong to the mineral kingdom. Say there is cuprum metallicum, then there is formicum, then there is hydrocynicum acidum, then there is kali bromatum, there's kali phos, macphos. What else? Yes, these are the mineral kingdom remedies that go into asthmatic. So respiration is asthmatic from nervous causes. Nervous is the emotional turbulence, okay, emotional, from that is psychogenic to neurogenic, and to the final functional thing that is coming up is breathing is becomes asthmatic. Then mind, sadness, respiration, asthmatic with. So with sadness there comes asthmatic episodes in respiration. We get medicines like calicarb and natrum sulfur. Again, these are minerals. This is taken from radar, the synthesis uh, repertory. So anemia, generals, anemia, grief from what we get, natramute, as it was. Again, both the remedies belong to the mineral kingdom. Menstruation, female genitalia, sex, menses suppressed, menses love from, disappointed. So what we get, Helleborus, a plant, Ignatia, a plant, but then natramute, as it was also common here too. Then vertigo, anger after, aconite, calcarea, oleum animalis. So calcarea again is it's a king. It's coming out as another king of antisoric drugs besides sulfur. So calcarea is here. Vertigo, anger after, vertigo, excitement, emotion. Again, we get calcarea. Vertigo, bad news from calcarea. So vertigo is basically loss of balance, a kind of functional error. Again, SORA. But it's not at the organic level. It's not at the level of a deep pathology or anything of that. So it's just a functional thing. So it comes from the slightest emotional turbulence. And calcarea we get in all the three rubrics here. Then vision dim, thinking from. If the person is thinking, the vision gets dim. Argentum nitricum, again, a very beautiful remedy wherein you see the Allen keynotes mentions Argentum nitricum, that all the complaints are brought on by prolonged mental exertion. So when there is prolonged mental exertion, here also vision is dim. Thinking from only remedy present is Argentum nitricum. So thinking causes all the troubles in Argentum. Thinking about going to the church or opera brings in the diarrhea. Thinking about passing through a narrow street causes vertigo. So all these things cause, thinking is a poison for Argentum nitricum, although it is not a poison, but it acts like a poison for Argentum nitricum. Then comes hearing, hearing impaired, fright after. We get magnesium carb, see, fright, the ailment from fright, and we get the hearing is impacted. My screen is visible?
Yes, now it's someone has
Someone has access to your screen.
like that it is written.
Yeah, where it has gone. Share audio. Hearing, and these are all the rubrics that we take. So till far, this was all about how I consider the homeopathic angle in deficiencies. Now, this is a case. A small. I'll just firstly, I'll just go through this case. This is a case that belongs to my study only, and this person is 21-year-old male who presented with complaints of weakness and lethargy. When walking even 10 steps was difficult, body pains on slightest exertion, chronic nasal catarrh, forgetfulness, etc. So these were the symptoms this person was facing, and this person belonged to a young adult group. The group wherein we the age group wherein we say that yes, weakness is something which is not at all kind of a normal thing to get in patients like this. So this person was like saying he complained that, "Yeah, I cannot even walk a small distance. I'm feeling so much weak. I'm feeling so much lethargic. There were body pains on the least exertion, and every now and then this person used to have nasal discharge, thick nasal discharge was there. Then forgetfulness was initially it was like to begin with he thought that it is like I'm preoccupied with my work and studies, but now this thing is converting into not he was not able to remember the slightest of the smallest of things that he used to study for his things. So this is the presentation of his complaints into the boning Watson method, the location, sensation, modalities, and concomitants, the generalities, the whole body has pains, generalities, the weakness, lethargy was there. The modalities, morning on waking, after first urination, up in summers, walking under the sun was extremely difficult for this person. Yes, again, as I said, the Sora says, rest and lie down, and then only your problems are better. So this person also had amelioration and weakness and lethargy from rest, and the whole body pains were there. Again, exertion, slightest exertion, aggravation, amelioration from rest. Nasal catarrh, slightest exposure to cold air was there. Mind forgetfulness, used to forget things after placing them at any place, used to forget easily any work that was told to him. The history of present complaints, this person was an obese earlier in 11th class. Therefore, thereafter he joined gym. Now, what happened when he joined gym? He started dieting. He went on certain supplements, protein supplements, then energy supplements and all. And thereafter, when he started feeling weakness. So what I was talking about is there's another law, a rule that I didn't talk about it about here. That is Arndt Schul's law that the large doses kill, the moderate doses inhibit, and the small doses stimulate. So large doses of supplements, what are they going to do? They are going to kill what? The power of the system to absorb those very supplements. This is what Dr. Dr. Kent has written about calcarea carb, the aceticum acidum, in his lectures on homeopathic materia medica, wherein he says how a calcarea carb constitution develops, he has told about that the babies are fed lime water again and again in large doses. So large doses, what are they going to do? They are going to kill. What they are going to kill, they will kill the power of the gut of the baby to absorb calcium from the diet, and this person will develop soft bones. Is what Dr. Kent has written. So again, here also this person took protein supplements. He went on into dieting. He was like only on diet of eggs and all those things. And then he started feeling weakness along with frothiness in urination, which followed dieting and weight loss and all those symptoms of nasal catarrh. Absent-mindedness was since childhood. Then this is the past history. I believe that since the time is a crunch, I would just rush ahead. Yes, his family history I would like to mention. There is a degenerative bone disorders running in the family. The grandfather, grandmother, aunt, uncle. He said everyone underwent knee replacement, and there is another thing that is that is there in his family history. This hypertension, diabetes, asthma, etc. So the personal and social history. Surroundings at home are congenial. There is no there was like a bit of addiction with tea with sugar. On plus side, he was very fond of, you know, he said, I don't take sweets, otherwise I just want a very sweet tea. So appetite is good, thirst is also good. The bowel habits are regular without any discomfort. Yes, he also mentioned pain in stomach from eating corns or cornmeals. Now, corn and cornmeals are basically carbohydrates. So the person was slowly, since he was already on supplements, he was also developing hypersensitivity or resistance for starch. So the sweat, it was like normal, but yes, he mentioned a bit. It was more towards the more side on the upper part of the body, that space. Sleep is disturbed, cannot sleep on time, falls asleep around 3 a.m. and then wakes up late without much energy. Thermally, he said he is chilly, like he can actually cover himself up. Even in summers, he takes a small, a light quilt. He likes to cover up most of the times. He said, I can stay without like fans and ACs even in the peak summer seasons also. Then these are the mental generals: depressed, confused, introvert, absent-minded, sensitive to opinion of others, then impulsive, doesn't think much before acting, doesn't forget issues easily, and he keeps them in art. This is the case analysis, the mental symptoms and the physical symptoms that I have arranged in order of, this is the basic order that I have followed is Kent's classification and evaluation, wherein he also evaluates the symptoms in a particular order. So absent-mindedness was something which was very much present there in the mental symptoms. Impulsive, he was like introvert, and there was depression. He is also sensitive to opinion of others. Then the physical symptoms on top comes weakness and lethargy, which was his main complaint. The main presenting complaint was there. Then since it is a physical general, also it occupies a good grade. Then there were body pains, there's obesity. Then there are particulars, the obstruction of nose, the nasal catarrh activation. And since these particulars, since they are modified, they have a modality attached with them. There is aggravation from cold air. So they are like important in the hierarchy in this evaluation chart.
Okay.
This is the totality of symptoms, and this is the repertorization that I did with those symptoms. I used radar here, radar opus, and this was the analysis of the repertorial result. This is Calcutta Carp covering like 11 rubrics and carrying 25 points. Pulsatilla covered 10 rubrics out of the number of rubrics taken were 12. So Pulsatilla covered 10 rubrics and 23 was the grade. So since there is a potential differential field which I have discussed here, the patient had weakness as a chief complaint, so much so that it was difficult to walk for a little distance also. Thermally, he was chilly. So since the actually nature was there in that was very loud and predominant in the physical generals. So I took it as a potential differential field, very important in like grade, and I chose Kilkeria carb as my medicine. So these are the reports. If you can see, on 7th of December 2023, the vitamin D3, serum vitamin D3 was 8 nanogram per ml. That is very, very, low. That comes under a range of deficiency. Then he actually, to begin with, he developed certain, stomach order after taking this Kilkiracab. So I had to stop the medicine after 3 months. You can see on 12th of March, the vitamin D levels have not much improved. They're still at the level of 8.2. Then in August 12th, this is 12th of August 2024 again, you can see the same person, vitamin D levels are 25.9 nanogram per ml. That is, this thing still needs to be worked. This has moved from a deficient state to an insufficiency range, but it has moved a lot, improved a lot from the previous reports, as you can see. This was the follow-up. As I said, medicine was stopped for a week or so at the initial level. So the initial reports didn't show actually much of the improvement, as you can see
Okay.
in the
Okay, madam.
later ones.
Okay, madam. Our time is over. Anyway, it's really a very good session and excellent session. Unfortunately, we lost some time in the beginning, so that's the reason why we were unable.
I know, sir. But
Uh,
then my presentation is also concluded. This is the last slide of my presentation. So thank you for giving me this platform and the time to share my whatever I have done in my research work with you all.
Yes, I am inviting Dr. Rambaresh sir to say a vote of thanks to the session.
Thank you, Dr. Dhanesh ji. Congratulations, Dr. Vasundhara Madam. Very nice presentation. Case very dynamic case presentation. Very good describe the biochemistry of nutrition. Very good describe the biochemistry. The elements, without elements, elements is a very important in the life and nature. And elements is a combination. Without elements combination, no formation, no construction, no development. Element is the necessary in the life and nature. Very, very thanks, Dr. Vasundhara Madam, and behalf of IFPH whole team. Thank you again presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rambaresh sir and Dr. Vasundhara. It's really an excellent day for us. You really, definitely, we need some more presentations in the future from you. And tomorrow we will have a session from Dr. Arora, and Dr. will be talking about poster presentation in homeopathy. With that, we come to the end of the day, 1702. Thank you all. Good night. It's over.